Good afternoon and welcome to Revenue Marketing Television, the video channel dedicated to thought leadership from the world's top marketing executives. I'm your host, Jeff Pedowitz, President and CEO of the Pedowitz Group. Today's guest is Saul Leal, General Manager of the FamilyShare Network. Saul currently manages the largest engagement brand in social media for families as a targeted demographic, with over 100 million followers with engagement rate of over 500 million per month. Saul is an international media executive with proven business development, operational management, and leadership skills. He's built and launched a multi-platform, multi-language pay television channel, among other technologies and operational ventures. Under Saul's leadership, the network grew potential viewership from 0 to 25 million television viewers and 66 million mobile users throughout 18 countries in the Americas, representing a distribution market share of 18% in just 3 years. He has a proven track record in creating, developing, and selling global initiatives, and most recently, FamilyShare was awarded the Oracle Marketing Award for Best Social Media Campaign. Welcome to the show, Saul.
Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it. This is a great opportunity. I've been looking forward to a conversation for a long time, so thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. So first, maybe tell us a little bit about the FamilyShare Network. What is its mission and its purpose?
Yeah, that's great. The FamilyShare Network at its core is a cohort of websites and distribution channels, mostly through Facebook. We also have Pinterest accounts and Twitter accounts, and what we do is we create content in our website, video, articles, images, memes, and we promote all of that to our pages. Now, the beauty about the FamilyShare Network is that we have focused on the family and family content, and I'll mention a little more about our research on that. But we'll use pages, we own pages like I love my family, I love my wife, I love my children, I love my grandchildren, I love my cat, I love my dog, I love the United States, I love the Constitution, I love Mexico, I love Brazil, and we have all of that in several languages. We actually own family.com in over 80 languages. Wow. Right now, we only have activated family.com in Spanish and Portuguese and Bahasa. Now, in English, we use FamilyShare.com. That's the name of our network, FamilyShare Network.
Wow, that's fantastic. So now, what are then some of the goals? So you have all this content and all these different sites and social, and what are you trying to do with all of the different sites?
Everything started actually with starting a very simple offer and demand of content. Especially in the United States, as we did this research, we found that there's a lot of demand for family content, yet the offer was not there. We were looking at over 57% of Americans were very passionate for family content, specifically practical solutions for families. However, when you look on content producers in radio stations, in TV stations, in blogs and different websites, people were not willing, these content creators were not willing to write content for families. It was just not the top of their mind. Only 4 to 5% of the content producers were willing to write content in this category. Yet, as I mentioned, 57% of the audience were willing to read and consume this type of content. So our basic hypothesis was, can we create content in the family category and allocate this content and distribute this content through organic network behavior and see if the audience really behave as they mention on the surveys? Because sometimes, as you know, people can say things on the survey, but their behavior will say something different. So that was our basic hypothesis. That's how we come up and start creating, based on these passion statements, we start creating these pages like I love my family, I love my wife, I love my children, and it was fairly easy for people to subscribe to those pages on Facebook, for instance, or on Twitter. And people will look at the page, I love my family. They will say, oh yeah, I love my family. And they will like the page and they will subscribe to the page. Again, this was very useful at the time to gather most of our subscriber base. But that's really only 10, maybe 15% of the strategy, because at the end of the day, you have to maintain your audience and engage. So we started to create content in different categories within families and to start to understand and follow our audience. And as we did so, we created some algorithms to really create content that will engage the audience. So as we did this, we start seeing the growth of our pages, not only on the social aspect, but also on our websites at dramatic levels. So that sort of has been the journey for the FamilyShare Network, and now we're looking to increase more languages, to create more engagement, to go in other categories besides marriage and parenting.
What kind of you've done this in a pretty short period of time. What kind of resources are you applying against this, and how are you getting all this done?
That's a great question. So again, this concept of working through passion, it's very important and very core to the FamilyShare Network. As I mentioned, the distribution model is based on passion. So people, the individuals that actually read the content, they will become advocates of that content and share that content. That's really at the core of our distribution strategy, is this passion for family content. It is the same way in the content creation. So we have over 4,000 contributors, and these contributors, they're passionate about creating content. So they create content for FamilyShare, and I have a team of editors that will take this content, will prioritize it, will edit it, will take it to a level that the audience can consume, and then we'll publish that content. So not only at the distribution, in the distribution model, we have at the core passion, but also the content creation. It is passion that drive all the content creation. It's individuals that care about strengthening families worldwide, and those individuals will create content.
4,000 people. Did you use advocacy, social networks itself? Where are you finding all these contributors?
So it's sort of this network effect. So we just basically go out on our social channels and ask, hey, do you want to be a contributor to create content that will impact hundreds of thousands of families worldwide? And that's how we recruit. I mean, individuals they're just passionate people that feel some sort of a mission, and we're giving them a voice to contribute to this mission statement.
Wow, that's amazing. My head's spinning now. Like, hey, how could I go out and get contributors to our blog and to our site? So
yeah.
I'm probably going to go after our director of marketing right after this interview. So as the landscape keeps changing with digital and content, are you, and with your own team, are you seeing the skill sets changing? Are marketers today, do they need to know how to do different things? And if so, what are they, and how are you training them, preparing them, growing them?
That's a great question. So they're fluctuating. I don't fully dare to say changing, but they're definitely fluctuating, meaning that they're going to come back. So we're focusing on certain skills right now, and I'm seeing certain skills that I need for our audience in order to grow, and I'm seeing same thing happening in the industry. But I think the skills, there's other skills that will come back. I think that the reality is that we're in the digital world, in the social world. It's still in a mature process. We're maturing. We're growing, and as we grow, we mature. And let me be more specific on this. So something that I really work, like most of our employees are actually more statistical oriented, more mathematical oriented, more numbers oriented. And the reason, actually, surprisingly enough, most of our employees are not journalists, even though that we create over 400 pieces of content a month. We create over 600 posts in social media a day, anywhere from 600 to 1,200 a day. And none of our content creators are actually journalists, even though articles is a big piece of our assets. And the reason we have it set up this way is because at this point, as we're seeing the maturity cycle, we're seeing that it's all about understanding the audience. And the best way to understand the audience is through behavior. and to their natural behavior as they engage with the content, as they like, as they comment, as they share. And that behavior actually is what drives our content strategy. So as a content strategist, you have to be, more statistical, mathematical oriented in understanding that behavior to the numbers of the audience.
So
And I think that's what's
changed, right? I mean,
yeah, and that is a change from 10 years ago. The reality, Jeff, is that usually to this, what social media has brought in many ways is the time response to get feedback has been reduced at such a small time that you can pivot fairly quick. Let me expand a little bit of this. I think this is an important concept that we really worked on, and I would love to share with you. 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago, as you look at content creation, and in many ways today, it is basically a monologue. As you create an article for a newspaper, a radio piece content, even a television content piece, it's all a monologue, and you expect that the content creator will really understand the audience and will actually create a piece of content that will resonate with the audience. Even today, we see sometimes that it's cheaper to kill a TV series at the middle of it than actually recreate and pivot and recreate a new one from the one before, because it's actually cheaper to eliminate it than pivot, because the cost of content creation is so high. Now, the beauty with what social media has brought to us at FamilyShare is that within 20 seconds, actually sometimes even less than that, I know, Jeff, if a piece of content actually works or if it doesn't work. I know if a piece of content is going to become viral or not within a minute. So if it doesn't go viral, I know that then that piece of content doesn't work. And if it goes viral, I know what pieces of content work. So now I can create a whole table. I mean, we're talking about spreadsheets, we're talking about databases. I can create an algorithm to understand the different behaviors based on the feedback, on the behavioral feedback of the audience. So that actually retrains and provides feedback to my content, to my contributors. And now I can make a normal contributor, a normal Joe in the street, become a super writer, a super author that can create viral content constantly. And that is at the core of what we have done here at the FamilyShare Network.
So you said that you know within a minute. So how do you know? What tools are you using to know whether or not something is going to go viral that quickly?
So again, it's not a pixie dust or a magic secret that we have. It comes back to the behavior of the audience. So for instance, something that we look at the velocity of the content piece being shared. So we look at the amount of page views divided by shares per minute. So that velocity, if it's hitting certain velocity, through experience, we have known, okay, this usually has the potential to go viral because of the velocity that we're seeing people sharing the piece of content. Page views divided by shares within a minute. So certain equations, certain variables are able to help us to forecast the virality of content, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It's really fascinating what you're doing. So, in closing, if you were going to give advice to an executive who wants to start doing what you're doing, where would they start?
Really understanding your brand or audience. Something that we do at FamilyShare is to work with brands throughout the world, and we help. If you have a family, if you want to market to a family, whether that is or a family relationship, whether there is a mom, a dad, an uncle, a cousin, a son, if you want to market to those individuals and that relationship, we at FamilyShare can help you do that, and we have done it just by understanding your brand, the audience, and then creating content that align to both of those. So the main thing will be really fully understanding your audience, not cutting corners, because you cannot cut corners to excellence, and that excellence comes about really understanding and having the content very close to you and understanding that the audience really cares about that piece of content. If you put we always talk about putting the consumer in the center of the business, and that's really hard. The question is, are you willing to make changes, to change your processes, to change your accounting goals, your financial goals, to change your timetables in order to satisfy that customer. That's where it comes down, is are you willing to make true changes in your behavior as a company to focus on that customer? And that's what we have tried to do at the FamilyShare, is really cater to that consumer, that reader, understand him. And as we do that, then they will come back with loyalty in many, many verticals. And we have seen that with 120 million followers on social media.
Fascinating. I think your views are refreshing. I love your approach. I know the audience is going to enjoy listening to this. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
No, thanks to you. I really, really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.